Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I just came across a LinkedIn post that I wanted to discuss with you guys because I think this can be important not only for CFA candidates which are already going through the program, but also other people, potential candidates that may want to consider register to the CFA program. And so this LinkedIn post was posted by the general manager of the CFA program, in which he talks about a webinar in which he hosted with candidates that apparently went through the entire CFA program within the span of just 13 months. Apparently, these candidates took the level 1 exam in February of 2022, and then the level 2 in August 2022, and then the level 3 in February 2023. And so I will leave the link to the webinar in the description so that you can watch it later if you want. Apparently, the general manager of the CFA program pointed out that these candidates studied no more than 250 hours per level. I mean, the candidates told themselves this particular fact in the webinar, and these 250 hours, which is, by the way, less than the claimed amount that it's claimed to be necessary to pass each exam, which is the 300 hours. And these 250 hours were undertaken in terms of study within a span of just 3 to 4 months. And then he describes, the candidates describe the top 10 tips to make such a quick run through the program. And so, as such, I'm going to just to give you my opinion about these tips, each of these tips actually, because I believe that some people who may be thinking about getting the CFA charter may get the impression that the program is actually much easier than it actually is. And so um, I think we should keep in mind that every candidate has its own background and knowledge about the topics discussed in the program. In the case of these candidates, if you see the webinar, you can clearly understand that these candidates apparently have a very deep background in finance. They work in the financial industry, and so this makes a significant difference, as you are able to tackle at least some of the topics in the curriculum and the concepts that the curriculum covers much quicker. And this makes ultimately a huge difference in the time it takes for you to study and to prepare for the exam. But nonetheless, I truly tip my hat off to the accomplishment of these candidates and all others who were able to follow such a quick path through the program. And so, on to the tips. These candidates apparently suggested to stick to a study regimen. And I think, in my view, this is a no-brainer. This is really, really key. You need to, based on the time you have available in terms of your family commitments, your job commitments, it's really, really important for you guys to create a schedule for you. For example, 1 hour each day, 2 hours each day, or even if you don't study, if you don't have too much time to study during the week, you have to reinforce the number of hours you devote to the study on the weekends. So apparently, they mentioned this. This is, in my opinion, truly key for you to basically be prepared or adequately prepared for the exams. Another tip that they shared apparently was to use basically provide a PowerPoint or use the Good Notes app on the iPad. Well, honestly, but this is just my opinion as well. I'm very personal in terms of the tools that you use to study, because as you can see if you search online, if you use pen and paper, your retention, your degree of retention of the topics that you are working on is much greater than using an iPad with good notes app, because the brain engages the materials and the tools in a much deeper way if you use pen and paper. And so this tip for me, at least this would not work for me and for my study method, because I believe that you don't even more so if you don't have too much time. Study efficiency is really key, and so you must make sure that during the time that you put in, you maximize the amount of retention that you get from your study. And so for me, this would not work. It depends also, of course, for each candidate. So, but this is, in my view, this is not a workable tip for some, or probably most of the candidates. Um, the other tip they mention is to seek out a prep provider with video training summaries, also with a summary version of the curriculum, also with videos for you to watch in double the speed or 2x speed. Let me just say this. If you go through these prep providers are very good tools for you guys to be able to get up to speed much quicker and be prepared to exam much quicker. You have to shed the dollars. You have to pay for these prep providers. These prep providers are not cheap, and it really comes down to the time that you have available for you to do that, for you to study for the exam. If you have enough time, if you have fewer commitments, personal commitments or job commitments, you can get away by studying with a little bit more time, and you don't need any prep providers for you to pass the exams. As long as you stick to the curriculum and you go through the curriculum at a good pace, and you have yourself enough time to practice the questions and also to go through enough mock exams, I believe that this is good enough for you to pass the exam. Prep providers are expensive, and so you really must consider the use of those, especially if you think that, I think, as far as I could see the last time I saw the prices of prep providers, most prep providers resources in terms of having the manuals and everything cost more than the registration for a level of the CFA program. So you gotta keep that in mind if you really want to pay that much to have access to prep providers, when you can, in the situations that you can, go at a more moderate pace in terms of your study. Also, the other tip that they mention is to take out notes. It's to take notes as you go through the curriculum. This is really a good tip. This is really essential, and because the curriculum is so deep and is so long that if you don't take notes, your brain will not retain and will not really remember anything that you studied about a topic ago or 2 topics ago. And so it's important for you to take some notes to really get the key ideas out of the curriculum as you go through it, so that you are able then, even if you don't remember to its fullest, later on when you are practicing questions, you can somehow recall some of the details, and then when you revisit these questions and when you revisit that particular detail of the curriculum, so that you will so that you make sure that you are actually dominating the concept and really grasping the concept, you will be able to do that in a much more efficient way and a much quicker way. So this is a really good tip, and I did it extensively. Basically, I wrote in the pen and paper a summary of the entire curriculum for each of those 3 years. And so this is a really key tip for you guys to stick up with, because it will really help you in your preparation. Another tip is to use a synthesized summary of the curriculum from a prep provider. Again, this comes back to the use of prep providers that I mentioned earlier. Prep providers, of course, are doing their business, and that's why they do good materials, but they also charge high prices. And so it's up to you if you are willing to devote more time, or if you are able or you can afford to devote more time to your study, so that you can make do and prepare without having prep providers, having to resort to prep providers to prepare for the exam. Another tip is that make your own flashcards. Now I'm going a little bit against the trend, because I believe that flashcards, which for those who don't know, flashcards are basically topical words and topical which explain a particular concept. In my view, I would say that flashcards, all right, they give you the keywords, they give you the definition, but I must say that in level 1, you will have to answer some questions in which you have to, all right, spell it out, the concept of this topic, of the concept that this keyword entails. All right, you will be likely to be asked that in the level 1 exam. In level 2 and level 3, the depth at which the questions go is much deeper, and so flashcards lose their importance as you move along the program. And so you will not be asked, what is this concept, or explain this concept in the open-ended questions on level 3. It's very unlikely. They will give you the questions that will test you in that particular concept will come in the context of a given situation. And so the flashcards, for me, I did not use them at all during those 3 years in which I went through the program, because I felt, all right, this is not a language skill test. This is really a financial test, a financial topic test. And so you don't need to know the definitions by heart so that you will spell it out in the exam. No, you really have to understand it. And in order for you to understand it, you go through the curriculum, and then you practice questions. Flashcards, it's just for you guys to know the definition, and that's it. But the definition won't save you in the exam if you don't really know how to apply to it. And the application of the concept, by applying it, you will by itself fulfill the purpose of the flashcards. So flashcards for me didn't work. I didn't see much utility in them, so I did not waste my time making my own flashcards or going through flashcards. No, it was not necessary. Even the ones in the CFA, the learning ecosystem, I didn't use them at all. Another tip they get is to avoid the temptation to go into too much detail on any particular topic. Yes. I see where these candidates are coming from in this particular topic, because if you are focused too much on a particular topic, then you will probably waste too much time. And this is just a tiny concept or a tiny detail that by the value that you will get by knowing it in the exam, the amount of time you put in it is not worth it. It makes sense. It makes sense. But then uh, this is related to an issue that I will tell you later in the video. It really depends on how much do you really want to know about this particular concept, not only for the purpose of the exam, but also for your own personal knowledge, for your career. And so, just to give an example, all right, valuing derivatives, for example, this is a topic that is addressed quite deeply in the level two curriculum. And so, for example, valuing interest rate swaps, for example. All right, for most people, including myself, I had to take a lot of time to really understand this particular detail of the curriculum. And then, all right, if you don't know and you can't really get around your head around valuing interest rate swaps, all right, is it worth it to really continue to devote more and more time to really understand it? Especially because it may not be even show up on the curriculum, and you don't work in your job with interest rate swaps. Yeah, probably it is not worth it. But if you are really passionate about interest rate swaps and really want to know as much as possible about the financial industry, the derivatives, their uses, and all that, you really want to know this. And so, in the end, I think this is about not only personal experience, but also about your purpose, what you want to get out of the curriculum. And so this is something that is really, really personal. Of course, for the interest of the exam, you should never take an excessive amount of time focused on one particular concept or detail or topic, but there you are. Another thing is that there are several formulas, like 10 or 20 formulas per exam that you really need to know. And so it's important to have them on hand, either making your own or using a formula sheet from a prep provider. And yeah, in that sense, I totally agree. There are very, very specific formulas that you need to know. You cannot afford to go to the exam without knowing them. And so it's really important for you at the first stage, as you go through the curriculum, you write those down, pen and paper, once again. But then this is just a temporary fix, because when you proceed to the practice questions and the mock exams and you apply the formula over and over and over again, you will no longer need a formula sheet, because you will be so proficient in the use of the formula, any particular formula, that you will memorize it by then. To coming back to of the example of valuing interest rate swaps, the formula, the first time you see it, is so complex you cannot really understand it the first time you see it. And it's because it's very difficult, it's very complex. There are a lot of tiny details in the formula. But as you go through practice questions and you apply the formula once, twice, 3 times, 10 times, 15 times, you reach a level of understanding of the formulas that you will no longer need a formula sheet, because it will become second nature to you to apply them. And it really comes out, that's really the most important thing, is you'll not be asked, tell me or please write a particular formula. No, you will be asked to apply the formulas. And so that's all that matters. And so, yeah, for the beginning, at the first stage, as you go through the curriculum, yeah, it's good to have a formula sheet made by yourself, pen and paper. But then it will become useless for a good reason, because you already have memorized it by then and you no longer need it. Another tip is that spending as much time reviewing the mock exam as doing the exam itself, the mock exam itself. I cannot emphasize this enough. doing the mock exams and then reviewing them will probably be the aside from covering the curriculum in the beginning, will be your true bread and butter. Your true added value in your preparation will come from mock exams, practice questions, uh, going through all of them and then reviewing them. As soon as you finish, review that, because your topics, the topics that you were tested on, are still fresh in your mind, and then by review them, you will quickly understand where did you go wrong, what you did right, what should you keep in your memory because you did it right, what you need to reconvene and adjust in what you did wrong so that you can make it right the next time. So basically, don't be afraid. It may seem like a kind of wasting your time, a kind of useless proposition to review the mock exam or the practice questions that you just did. Far from it. It's really really key, and this is a building block, and this will be a building block in your preparation, and it will come in handy later on. It doesn't matter if you are repeating the questions again, and then you will recall, oh, I reviewed this before, so I already know what it is, so this will become useless. No, it's quite the contrary, because as you go through the questions, even if you're repeating the questions over and over, you will get so much of an understanding of the concepts and the details of that particular point of the curriculum, that in the exam, no matter what questions they thrown at you, you will be able to tackle those in a flawless way. So this is the way you should go. The final tip that they do is that they point out, they mention, is that, but this is sort of a no-brainer, this is kind of obvious, that the CFA exam studies are far easier if you really enjoy the topic of financial markets, and you are really really interested in knowing more about this. So I think this is kind of obvious. If you will not be undertaking such a grueling program, or any endeavor in life, if you did not have any particular appeal to you. So I think this is kind of obvious, but yeah, I will not discuss it too much because it's kind of a self-explaining. So, but in light of these topics, and in light of the whole concept and the whole prospect of going through the exam in just going through all the three exams in just over a year, there's also another point that I want to potential candidates to really really consider, is that I want you guys to ask yourselves, what is your purpose if you decide to go through the CFA program and ultimately get the charter? Because there are numerous studies out there. You can quickly search online and you find a handful of them that have demonstrated that the faster you try to learn something new, and the faster you go through a particular field of study and all that, the less actually you will be able to retain for the following months and even years, you see. And so long-term retention, which I think for someone who wants to get the charter, he wants to become a specialist, or at least he should desire to become a specialist in financial markets. And so long-term retention is really maximized when you go through topics at a moderate pace, and you space out your study, your study sessions over a longer period of time. Because by spacing out these sessions, and you go through the concepts at a moderate pace, your brain is able to process information in a much deeper way. Let's just say that the building blocks have time to really really connect between themselves, and so you will be able to understand in a much deeper way. So the key question here is whether you really want to just pass 3 exams and that's it. And even if you pass, you just scrape through, or even if you ace the exam but you don't really care, or you don't care too much about whether you will be able to still understand these topics a year from now, or 2 years, or 5 years from now, or you really want to understand the concepts and the topics covered in the curriculum for years to come. Because if you work in the financial industry, you will not forget the topics that you work on, but you probably forget quicker the topics that you don't work on but are still covered in the curriculum and are still part of the financial industry. If you really want to become a specialized person in each and every topic of the financial industry, I would suggest, all right, take more time, enjoy the curriculum, enjoy the knowledge that you will get from the exam, because this is an experience that will turn you into a different person. And so because of that, you must embrace the experience, the knowledge that you take. If you are really passionate about financial markets, it's really key for you to get as much out of it as you might possibly can. And so for me, because I just did not want to pass 3 exams, even though I did not have I did not yet fulfill the dream of working deeply into the finance industry and the investment industry. I want to become specialized, because for me the CFA program and the charter, I would see it as a springboard to transition into the industry. And so for me, understanding the topics to the fullest degree possible was really a non-compromising issue and goal for me. And so this is something that you guys need also to consider. I know that, yeah, we live in a world in which, putting the minimum amount of effort and still reach the goal is how you basically is the most appealing proposition for most people in society. But still, there is no way around the fact that for anyone to stand out and to really be an expert and specialist, you really must put in the work and put in the hours. I think it's no coincidence that the 10,000 hour rule this is just an example, but the 10,000 hour rule by Malcolm Gladwell, that is described in his book, which I think is a masterpiece, by the way. His book, Outliers, is so widely accepted by many personalities worldwide, which are widely considered as high performers. And so for those who don't know the book, that didn't read the book, I fully recommend the book, by the way. But for those who haven't read the book, one key takeaway is that it takes anyone 10,000 hours roughly to really become an expert or to achieve mastery on a given topic, or to attain a particular skill. And this is no coincidence. This is something that doesn't happen overnight. You must work on it, work on your craft, put in the hours, devote as much as you can to a given topic for you to become a specialist. And so for me, I think this is something that is really key. It really comes down what you want to achieve. Do you want to simply pass the exams and forget about it, or you really want to get something really definite out of it? And for example, even though I did not use this particular prep provider, Mark Meldrum, for example, has 2 videos about is the charter worth it. He gleans also into this topic in his own video. So I think that there's a reason for that. I consider Mark Meldrum, because I also follow his videos on YouTube. He is a true master in the financial industry and in financial topics, and so he really is one of those people that not only talk the talk but also walk the walk, because he really knows what he's talking about. And I think that if he also is a person who picks out this particular issue among CFA candidates and CFA potential candidates, I think you should really pay attention to this. And also, the final detail that I also want to point out is that uh, why is this particular endeavor being emphasized in a webinar? I mean, these candidates have all the merit in the world, of course, but you guys got to keep in mind that also the CFA Institute is an institution that, of course, makes his money from candidates who register for the exam, and so and of course this is completely legitimate. I have no qualms about it. Of course, he's doing his business as everyone else, and he seeks his own interests, self-interests, of course, as every one of us. But of course, a candidate that goes through a program in such a short period of time is much more appealing as a marketing tool for potential candidates to join the CFA program and try to go through the program. And these candidates, because they are also able to go through a program so fast, more quickly they can engage and pay for other programs that the CFA Institute provides. And so you guys must also see this from an economic perspective, from the CFA candidate. And so you really must, again, keep in mind what is best for you, and it works best for you, and what is your purpose when you engage in such an endeavor that it will take so much out of you, because the program is demanding. It requires taking a lot of effort for you to go through it, and so that's something that you really must pay attention to. That's all for me. This is a really important topic for me, because of course I spent so much time getting through the curriculum so that I could become a specialist in the financial topics that are covered in the curriculum. So if you guys want to also become specialists, please keep yourselves aware that success does not come overnight, and knowledge does not come to you overnight. You really must put in the work and the hours so that you can become an expert. And that's it. Thank you so much for your attention, and we'll keep in touch. Feel free to connect on LinkedIn, to send me a message if you need to have some questions. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you very much.